For me in particular, Peterson's Bible series was very touching and moving. I felt more and more happy that I had framed my system along these lines in terms of tree of knowledge back in the garden, precisely because I thought his enriched exploration of that, his own struggle with it, was on display in a very living way, and I deeply appreciated that and was moved by it. So I can empathize, and I liked his maps of meaning. It's just that I get more technically like, well, from my own technical vantage point. But I thought it was a deep book itself. And then,
when did you discover that? Was it before he?
No, I didn't. I had intersected with some aspects of his Big Five work, so I knew I'd heard of him, but I didn't know of him until the media phenomenon around.
So was he someone who really pushed the Big Five forward?
Well, his aspect scale and the work that he did is a it's a reasonable. So Big Five is a big deal. It's got many different elements. He's clearly an expert on Big Five, and I believe that his aspect scale is a very reasonable tributary in relationship to that. And what I'm super impressed with Jordan Peterson, which people don't get, in my opinion, if you know the field the way I know it, when I saw him, this is what I was so pissed about with the people around me. So very, very few people operate at a very high level as a clinician. Okay. And I sense that my style would be different, but I sense that he had a real deep capacity to connect with people as a clinician. As a behavioral scientist, as somebody that fundamentally understands, basic Skinnerian frames of reference, behavioral modification, he's well-versed in that. As a personality empirical theorist grounded in Big Five, as a personality analytic theorist, especially appreciating Jung, but the whole psychoanalytic tradition, and being philosophically grounded in Nietzsche and looking to the culture in a particular kind of way. I mean, to do that with sophistication and depth and academic integrity, and to be a wonderful lecturer, I mean, that man has serious talent and depth. And anybody that couldn't see that is essentially blind, in my view. I don't care what your political area is. We want people who take responsibility for what they can know and advance it. And especially his deep concern with totalitarianism and that we're all vulnerable to self-deception and we have a responsibility. I love the man for that. And I really find that people can't see that. They get so trapped up in, I can debate. I thought he overshot on C16, and I'm definitely far to the left of him in my general orientation. But he's an honorable person. And as soon as I saw him, I thought then I could just say, hey, the people around me, it's like, I have credibility, right? Nope. They just get wrapped up in a herd mentality. It's amazing. But I saw him in the context of the C16 battle. That's when he came up really on my radar. And then I got fascinated because I've always been thinking about, well, the left has got to manage what's the integrity of social justice issues and what is the hyper-progressive histrionic extreme that goes insane, the mean green. I've always been tracking this issue and been paying attention to it for 30 years. My first intellectual awakening is feminism. So I'm inside the critical race theory and feminist literature. And then I learned where the freaking edge is. And Jordan Peterson's totally right. It's like the left doesn't know where the heck the edge of this thing is at all. They don't know when to, I get people, it's like, I criticize somebody, it's like, well, you're a white man criticizing a black woman. I'm like, I'm an expert criticizing somebody who's acting histrionic. You can't just take a social category and apply it irrespective of me and her in the idiosyncratic event. You're just going to apply a social category and then say, well, because of histories of oppression, we already know the outcome about what's appropriate. I mean, that is just categorical insanity. I mean, that's but nope. The system itself basically now has swallowed that pill. It's like we have to see it through social categories first and foremost. And indeed, many people just stop there because they're not exactly complicated in the way they metabolize information.